It's your girl Miracle Sims, and you are listening to God, Sex, and Love. Your daily dose of inspiration, the juice. It is June the 9th, 2021. And first, let me start off by saying happy birthday to my dad. Yes, to Larry O'Neal. Shout out to you. Happy birthday, sir. Um, the interesting thing is, at some point yesterday, little man and I did a pre-birthday call. Um, Trying to get some things in the works for you and whatnot. But no worries about all that. Just I hope that you enjoy your day. Perhaps we'll try to give you a call again or something like that. But yeah, man, happy birthday to my dad, Mr. Larry O'Neal. Now, y'all. Well, uh, well, the topic today is called the will of God. Um, Obviously, before we get into that, I usually share about my day before. Well, you know how this weekend or last weekend I was like, hey, not that eventful. Well, I guess yesterday made up for it. It made up for my non-eventful weekend because it's like I had all the events yesterday. Oh my goodness! Like, okay, so I hesitate to tell you guys part of it because I mean it might be a little bit TMI, so I'm not going to go too deep. But I do want to tell you guys like a snippet of what happened. So long story short, um, yesterday after I recorded the juice, all was well. It was like a normal day. You know what I mean? I go, get back into bed, all this stuff, right? So my husband goes to work, still from what I remember. Next thing I know, uh, I started to feel under the weather. Um, Now my little man was still asleep. I do remember that. And so when I went to the bathroom to kind of, try to take care of whatever business I had going on, because there was a lot going on, I'm just telling you. I was feeling really weak and sweaty and hot and all these things. So, and when I get like that, I try to, stay close to the bathroom. That's all I'm gonna say. So anyway, so I was in there, whatever the case is. So my son sees me. He wakes up, right? So he wakes up. He comes and sees me. He's like, doing a little regular, hello, mommy, all this. But at some point, I'm like weekly asking him to bring me my bottle of water that I usually always have, like nearby. And I just had it just now, just because anyway, I usually have a bottle of water with me. And I was like, can you give me mommy's bottle? No, weekly talking to him, trying to get him to get mommy's water. He brings the water. So I'm like, cool. The more time going by, the more hot I was getting and everything like that. And I was going to try to communicate to him to get me one of my my hair bows or one of my things to tie my hair up. But I was like, he's not gonna understand. And then I was like, if I tell him to get the one that's closest to us, it's also in this cup that I got a pair of scissors in, and I was like, he's not gonna understand because I always tell him to stay away from that cup. So it's like, yeah, let me leave it alone, right? um, so at some point, one of the things I want to share with you all is at some point I hear him say doctor. So I look up and he walks out. And at first I'm like, is he gonna try to call somebody, But I was like, no, I got my phone right here. And everything. And so he comes back with his stethoscope. My baby came back with his stethoscope. I was like, oh my gosh, this is the cutest thing ever. I'm like, I'm so weak right now. I'm hot, sweaty, and I can barely talk. But this is the cutest little thing. It's like, oh my goodness. And so then at some point, I end up like just kind of laying on the floor because that when I'm going through these moments, like stuff like this has happened throughout my life, you know what I mean? And moments like this, and in the moment, it feels like the worst thing. My cramps used to be like this, to be honest. I'm sorry, I don't know if that's TMI, but anyway, so it's a similar feeling. It's like I feel weak. I need to lay down wherever I'm at. Like, I just need a minute. I'm gonna be okay, but I just need a minute. Like that's what it really is. But in the moment, I be contemplating all kinds of things. I'll be like, man, should I call? Like yesterday, I was thinking, should I call my husband? Like, it's just me and NJ, you know what I mean? Like he, obviously he's 2, you know what I mean? And he helped me to the extent that he could with as a 2-year-old, but you know what I mean? It's like, what if it's worse than what I usually go through? It's just all these things go through your mind when you're in that moment. But because I've been through it, I know for me, I know all I need is to just lay down for a minute. Like if I just lay down for a moment, let the, cool air hit me or something like that, I'll be all right. So anyway, so that was going on. So I lay on the floor. So at some point I'm just praying because, like I said, I just hate being in moments where I don't feel good. Or if I don't feel like, not say like I'm not in control of my body, but I don't know how else to explain it. Like just not feeling good. Like I don't like not feeling good, especially like that. So at some point, I'm laying down on the floor and I'm praying. The NJ comes up to me and I'm like, pray for mommy. I'm like, pray for mommy. So he comes and he like lays on my chest, right? And so I'm like, okay, cool. I asked you to pray, but that's cool. That's fine, baby. Come on in. And oh, people that are watching me live, they can see my action. So sorry, podcast people, but I'm like holding. I was showing people how I was holding him. But anyway, so he lays in my arms and I'm praying in tongues, right? Next thing I know, this little boy goes, amen. And I'm talking about, I was like, you know what? I'm finna go. Like, this finna take me out of here right now. Like, first of all, how do you even know what I'm saying in order to say amen and agree? Like, I mean, like when I was like, man, Lord, you are just wonderful. Like, even through this little boy, so much. But anywho, man, like when I regained my strength, like first thing I did was call my mom and told her all this. I was like, Mom, let me tell you about your grandson. It was, you can't make this type of stuff up. Like this is just God at work and through the little things, like in all things and stuff like that. And so that's like one of the most eventful things that happened yesterday. I mean, something else happened, but I might talk about it in the after show. It didn't happen personally to me, but it was something I was witnessing online on social media. Well, I guess the dynamics of parenting. I'll just put it like that. I'll probably talk about it in the after show a little bit deeper, because I don't want to be long you all's time with just everything that happened yesterday. But yeah, so I witnessed something else that happened yesterday. That was quite eventful to witness, but hey, you gotta check out the live to see that. What else? Personally, some other things. I mean, I ended up, teaching my virtual class later on that evening. It went really well. Like those students are really, really grasping, the things that I am trying to impart on them. Technically, it was supposed to be the last day of the agreement or whatever the case is. But I think their mom is going to renew or something, or maybe it's going to continue. So hopefully I'll get more information about that and whatnot. But either way, yeah, they did really well yesterday and everything. I'm gonna leave that at that right now. Yeah, I think I'm gonna leave that at that. So anyway, so when I woke up this morning, well, when I went to bed rather late, I feel like I was trying to like force myself to go to sleep around 11. So I don't know, like I was up the whole time yesterday. It just was, there was no like necessarily going back to sleep and taking a nap in the middle of the day like NJ did, but I didn't. I just was like ongoing. My brain was ongoing with tasks and ongoing with just all kinds of little stuff like that. So anyway, so when I woke up this morning, I was in that I'm not feeling it mood. But I log into my social media and whatnot. I see I have messages from Elizabeth. So shout out to Elizabeth. You know what I'm saying? The girl's on it, man. I will tell you. It seems as if she is on it in regards to, getting tasks together and like really, seeing where she, I guess, can get in where she fit in and everything like that. So shout out to her, man, doing her thing. So basically, that's kind of what kind of kicked me up or woke me up, because it was like, okay, she needed me to do some things. And so I was like, okay, let me go ahead and do them. And so as I was doing them, I woke on up and everything like that came on in here. I did not do my routine. I did not do any workout portion. Today I did pray and meditate, which was really good. It was a nice little reminder, and everything like that. But yeah, but I was kind of preoccupied, honestly. I was a little bit preoccupied mentally, because I was responding to Elizabeth about the task that we were working on real quick while I guess we're both live. Because obviously she, different time zone and whatnot. So I don't even know what time it is over there, but obviously I'm just starting my day here. But anyway, so that's one thing. Also, my homeboy in Pakistan, Arsal, he reached out this morning about some, things to confirm or whatnot. And so I was doing that. So yeah, when I finally did get to the prayer meditation and everything like that, it was like already after 5 or almost about 5 or something like that. And so that's why I didn't do any workout stuff. I just did my prayer meditation. And then when I finally did settle my mind again, after doing the other tasks, what was the phrase? Motivation. The word motivation came into my mind. And I looked it up and it looked pretty good. Some verses looked pretty good. But as I was looking at those, the will of God came into my mind. And so I was like, okay, so I started to look up these verses and everything like that. And so that's what led me to the topic of today. Let's get into it. So when I look up the will of God, it got me to think about the word will. Because everybody's like, okay, we talk about the will of God, but do we know what it means? Like, and all that stuff, right? So I was just like, okay, what does the word will itself mean? Because obviously, I guess they didn't have a definition for will of God. I did Google and I saw some stuff, but I just was like, I'm not going to take nobody's opinion. I'm about to take the definition. I'm looking for a definition. So that's the only reason I'm not sharing that. But in regards to the word will in particular, W-I-L-L, it has several little definitions. So I found that interesting. And then most of the definitions had the same word in each of the little definitions. So here we go. So when it says the word will, it said expressing future tense, expressing inevitable events, expressing a request, expressing facts about ability or capacity, expressing habitual behavior, expressing probability or expedition about something in the present. With all that expressing, I meant to define that too, but I guess you guys can do that on your own. Put it in the go deeper section if you want to, but yeah, so that's what the word will means by itself. But what is the will of God, right? What is the will of God for us as a whole? What is the will of God for us as individuals? I think we go through life trying to figure that out. Like, well, some of us, those of us that acknowledge God, then we're probably trying to figure that out. Like, what is God's will for me? I don't know. What just came into my mind just now is like, maybe some of us figure it out, or maybe some of us don't. Maybe it's not as deep as we think. It's just me and a random thought there. But I mean, maybe it's not. Maybe it's just really simple what God wants from us, and his will for us is very simple, but we're making it complex. I don't know. But let's take a look at what the Bible says. So Romans 12:2, it says, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect. Now, this is a familiar verse. I mean, I'm sure I've shared it on Juice here several times. Again, not to be conformed by the world and everything like that, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind. Yeah, I mean, I feel like we kind of touched on this yesterday too at some point, but I mean, Yeah, I mean, I guess what stands out in that verse to me is that, the part about testing, uh, yeah, by testing that you may discern what is the will of God. I mean, we need to use discernment, right? We need to use wisdom and discernment. And how do we get that if we don't have that? Y'all remember we talked about it yesterday. Go to God, right? Go to God. But hey, that's just something to let marinate on your heart, souls, and minds. Now, 1 Peter 2:15, it says, "For this is the will of God, that by doing good you should put silence the ignorance of foolish people." Whew. Well, this actually makes me think about what I witnessed yesterday. So I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about it now or what. But okay, well, if I touch on it slightly, y'all know that y'all know that I follow Angela Stan King. Especially her Instagram, and she's always posting. Obviously, she's posting, to bring up awareness about, the things that are going on politically, as well as, this whole child trafficking, children being involved in sex issue, and everything like that. Which for me, I support. I know that's probably going to be, controversial to say. It depends on where you at, and how you believe and everything like that. But the thing I love about her is that she's able to express these things in a way that honestly anybody should be able to understand. Like the first time I was introduced to her was on the Breakfast Club last year, and I've been following her since then. And I just love it. For me, hearing her just speak truth is just like a breath of fresh air. It's like I truly, truly appreciate it, because I know that it's hard to say the things that she's saying, because people are easily offended. People are going to try to counsel you, all these different things. But even though it's funny because every time her name comes up, or if I talk to my husband about her or whatever, he's like, yeah, I guess the way she delivers her message sometimes, that's probably not gonna, or that's gonna keep her out of office, because she did run for Congress and whatnot at some point last year. And but my whole thing is like, well, honestly, we need somebody like her up, in the mix up there, to fight on behalf of people that believe the same, you know what I mean? So I mean, for me, I her delivery isn't that bad to me. Now I know that at some point she might get a little bit passionate about certain topics, like when, and people like to bring those topics up to her. You can't expect her not to get passionate about her children. At the end of the day, they are her children. She gave birth to them, and as a mom now, I get that a little bit more now, even as a mom. Like, I think I had an understanding that, hey, moms have a different connection to their children. But I mean, now that I become a mom and everything like that, it's like nobody else can tell her about her child. You know what I mean? Not like that. You know what I mean? Not to tell her how to raise them, tell her how to nothing, honestly. You know what I mean? Like, she gave birth to that child, and she has been raising this child. And so basically what I witnessed yesterday is that pretty much, long story short, one of her children disrespectfully, in my opinion, because I'm from the South. This is how, I mean, the stuff these kids do these days, I don't get it at all. Like, for me, it was always, if I even looked like I was about to do or say anything out the way, it was an issue. You know what I mean? But for these kids growing up these days, they do say whatever, and I don't get it at all. I like honestly, the fact that her daughter, in particular, that she's discussing about right now, or that I was witnessing her deal with yesterday, the fact that she even approached her mom in that way is part of the problem to me. Like I felt like it was very disrespectful the way that the girl approached her mom already. So and I know that, I know people got things to say about, oh, well, she shared the message of her daughter saying X, Y, and Z. She's showing us the repercussions of being a truth teller. She's showing us like the things that she's going through, that she's having to battle stuff in her own family, which the Bible says that we're going to have to do. The Bible says that families are going to be split like this. However, but she's actively showing us in real time what she's going through while she's trying to speak up for the silent majority, to be honest. And that's just, because if you ain't speaking about these issues and whatnot, then you're the silent. And if you agree and you're not speaking about it, and you're not like making your voice heard, or you're not like standing up for truth, or whatever the case is, then she's speaking for you, right? And so, and by speaking, and by being that bold voice in this season, which we definitely need, there's repercussions, right? And within her own family of, people are pretty much like using her children, and her children are allowing other people to influence them in a way that they are denying their mom. That I've never, like, I even if I didn't agree with my mom, even if I didn't like, there's just a level of respect of who she is. A respect for an adult, respect for my mom, and and everything like that. So basically, long story short, I'm not meaning to go into it. I thought I was going to say this for the after show, but long story short, what was going on is that, the girl was disrespectful. Just the request alone, in my opinion, was disrespectful. So the girl was disrespectful, asking her mom, or trying to tell her mom that she needed to, trying to control her mom's page, pretty much. And Miss Angela was like, you know what? Let me. So basically, she started to sell some items. Like, she had purchased a girl a PS5. She's like, I'm about to sell this. This is going to be her Christmas. Who wants this? You know what I'm saying? This child feels as if, you know what I mean? But that's to me, okay, maybe, okay, I can see maybe it was a little petty, and it was a little bit like, comical a little bit that she put it out there for sale to the public. But I mean, how is it any different from any other situation? It's just the same as if a parent back in the day would have been like, you know what, you're being disrespectful as a child, and your punishment, or your punishment, sorry, punishment, your punishment is going to be, we're about to have this yard sale and sell all these things that I purchased for you, you disrespectful child. It's the same thing, in my opinion. It's just a larger, you know what I mean? It's just a larger sales platform. It's just not in front of your house, and now you have your child, like, you have your child stand out there while we have a yard sale and sell all these lovely things, this bike or whatever, because you've been disrespectful. You don't know how to, respect my authority as your parent. And so I commend her for that. And at the end of the day, and then all of a sudden, I see a post that she was selling like a BMW SUV. I'm over here like, this girl had a BMW SUV. I don't even think the girl's graduated high school yet. I didn't get I didn't get a car until I graduated high school. And I think this girl is, I don't even know how old she is, but I don't think she's graduated high school yet, if she's even in high school yet. And, so it's just a level of disrespect. So anyway, I say all that to say, I know y'all like, what? I say all that to say that this verse here, when it's saying, by doing good, you should silence the ignorance of foolish people. I guess this reminds me of all of this, because again, the thing about the truth, like, at the end of the day, I hear her have the conversations, and the tough conversations and everything like that. But at the end of the day, like, no matter how much the people that may either believe differently or try to justify whatever the thing is that she might be debating about, because like I said, it can range from abortion to anything. So like, anybody that tries to try to come at her in a way where it's like trying to be like she's wrong, or try to say like these things are wrong, the more truth she tells and the more plainer she makes it, the more, like, honestly, it just shows the ignorance of the foolish people. Like that, it literally does that every time. Like, you can see it in the Breakfast Club. You can see it when the recent interview she did with I guess with Hollywood Unlocked. You can see like the conversations that sometimes she go live and whatnot and have conversations with different people. I think anybody with common sense understands the things she's talking about, and they can, especially when it comes to like separating children and sex and stuff like that. Like, in my opinion, yeah, it shouldn't be in the same conversation. Not like, let the kids grow up and then they can figure out sex and all that when they grow up. And not to say not teach, but what I'm saying, like, in regards to, sexual preferences, it's a whole nother level. I mean, that's a whole nother conversation as well. But I'm just saying, that's what it reminds me of, that verse right there. And speaking of that verse, let's go to this. Ephesians 5:17. It says, therefore, do not be foolish, but understand what the will of the Lord. And I mean, hey, now one, I think this is a verse that I shared yesterday. So that's one thing. And then two, we need to, it seems to me, just by perusing this morning, it seems to me that we need to take a little bit more time to figure out what the will of the Lord is. And if you don't know, then go to God. You know what I mean? Ask him for that wisdom, guidance, knowledge, all of that, to get an understanding of what the will of God is. Because then once we know, then, I mean, perhaps, I guess more things will make sense, the more you can do. And I mean, yeah, I guess, and then at that point, you're walking in your purpose. If you know what the will of God is, then you're starting to walk into your purpose. And so, yeah, that's just something to think about today, y'all. I hope that you are encouraged and inspired by hearing the words. Whether you're inspired to just go and start to research for yourself what the will of God is, or whatever. I don't know, but I'm just saying, I hope that this encourages you and inspires you today. You guys can go deeper with the verses that are in the go deeper section. And I hope that you let them marinate on your heart, souls, and minds. Now, the Bible verse of today is Psalm 100:4-5. And it says, enter into his gates with thanksgiving and into his courts with praise. Unto him and bless his name, for the Lord is good, his mercy is everlasting, and his truth endureth to all generations. Friends, I hope you all enjoyed this juice this morning. Thank you so much for listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration and juice. I pray you guys can go forth and have a wonderful day, and I look forward to talking to you all tomorrow, if the Lord's will. Bye-bye. And as for my Facebook and YouTube friends, man, yes, I did go ahead and tell you guys a little bit about, what I witnessed yesterday. That it was crazy, man. That car sold. She was only selling it for $3,500. That was the other thing too. I started hitting up people I knew because I was like, hey, who's looking for a car? Like, wait a minute, like a BMW for $3,000. Like, who wants that car? That'll be a blessing to somebody. And because it looked brand spanking new, like. Yeah, so I definitely tried to shout it out and post about it. My sister was like, dang, I wish she wanted it or whatever. But yeah, man, look, honor your father and your mother. That is in the word. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, this is the level of disrespect these kids have for their parents these days. I mean, well, one is biblical, so it's not that I'm not surprised per se, but at the same time too, there is something about within me, because knowing the way that I was raised, I just don't get like, and I started to see it, honestly, I started to see it a few years ago, because I used to do after school programs, and I was with young kids at one point, and just the things they would say, or me having to ask them to get quiet multiple times and things like that. It just was like, I do not remember it being like this growing up. If any type of adult or authority figure or teacher or whatever the case is, we've been quiet. That's it. Like, there was no, you know what I mean? Like, very rarely did we see any talking back and all of that stuff. But all of that type of stuff is encouraged these days. Like, I've seen videos of teachers, and then like some of their students like getting smart with them, and X, Y, and Z. Now this is on a whole nother level too, because I know there's a lot of teachers that are teaching their own ideals, and that's a whole nother thing. That's a whole nother conversation. But yeah, for the most part, like I don't remember being like that, or being, raised to be like that. I respected adults' authority, especially my parents. And so that, hey, yeah, perhaps the little girl needs a reality check. I mean, she's overseas for her birthday or something like that. Like, that's where it was kind of stemmed from, because she posted about her birthday, I guess a few weeks ago, and then all of a sudden now the little girl's talking about some, take my photo off your page because I don't want to be associated with the stuff on your page. It's like, are you serious? Because you went on national TV talking about this, so you already, like, you won't be associated anyway. Like, don't get too, what I mean? You're really acting like entitled, and you're not. And I guess your mom showed you yesterday. So all those little cushy things you have, BMW, SUV, adults don't even have that. You know what I mean? That's crazy out here. Like, these kids, it's on another level. Like, but I pray for her and her family. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure it's a lot going on within their family, and I'm sure she's hurt by the things that her children are doing and saying and putting out there. Because at the end of the day, people are going on her page all day and be trying to tell her what to do as a parent, and also trying to be like, parent shame her, trying to parent shame her, or whatnot. And at the end of the day, it's like, no one's going to love those children the way she is, because she's the mother. And you can tell her love and passion for her kids by the way she talks about them. And so, like, honestly, well, one, your mom, right? If she raised you, you lived in the same house with her all these years, XYZ, your mom. So the fact that you text her, so that's another thing. It's like, if you really felt some way, you could have sat down and talked with her. Maybe she would have received it a little bit different. But at the end of the day, like I said, it's just the disrespect. It's just, I mean, even sometimes, and I know my son is too, but I got to train him in the way I want him to go. At the end of the day, I need him to respect me, you know what I mean? Respect his father, respect adult figures and everything like that. And so, yeah, I'm going to be teaching him manners. Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. I honestly was thinking about it the other day. I'm like, I might need to make a song for this or something like that, for the kids to be, practicing this, because, just the disrespect, man. There's just disrespect. But at the end of the day, we talk about it a lot here on GSL. Parenting and taking care of this stuff in the home is so important. Like, not to say, well, obviously, I don't know what Miss Angela did through. I mean, obviously, I heard a little bit of her testimony and whatnot, so I know at some point she wasn't there. You know what I mean? In regards to, her situation, but obviously she changed her life. She can't, when she did get out, or whatever case is, she changed her life to be what it is now. And obviously by the grace of God as well. And so, and it seems as if she's done well by these children since then. You know what I mean? Like, and obviously they're living really well for this child, like teenager. Like, I don't even think this girl is in high school yet, and she's being able to go and like do like Harvard studies for the summer and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And it's like, really? You're very entitled, and she does need to be brought down a notch, in my opinion. This child, and she needs to, if you have no respect for me, then yeah, let me go ahead and respectfully take back the things that, you don't deserve these things, like perhaps, and I mean, her mom has the right to make that decision, that, in my opinion, and I think more parents should train their children in the way that they want them to go. Now, when they grow up and stuff like that, then, you might have to loosen the reins a little bit, let them fly, figure some things out on their own. But if, like, honestly, me, just knowing a little bit about the situation, what they're going through, this is just my little 2 cents. People can take it or leave it. I don't know. But what I would do in that situation, with my child being disrespectful and feeling like, oh, I don't know what she's thinking, but whatever I'm paying for, extracurricular and stuff like that, I would let the little girl, hey, let's see what public school is like for you. Let's just let you do that. Let's not be paying this extra money for you to take, and that's not taking away from her education. it's taken away from extracurriculars, because at the end of the day, she don't need all that. She can just get what she need from a public school, but she's doing you know what I mean, doing extra for you so you can be able to experience a little something better than she experienced, and you don't even appreciate that. You know what I mean? And so it's just on another level for me. I just don't, me personally, disrespectful kids. I mean, like I said, I'm working on, I got one I'm working on, you know what I mean? We'll see, you know, even sometimes, like I said, I know he's just 2, but sometimes I have to tell him, like, hey, you know, watch how you're talking to mommy, watch what, you know, the things you're doing to mommy. Because at the end of the day, I'm mommy. You need to understand that I am your mother. I'm, you know, yeah, I already pulled the I'm not your little friend card. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I feel like me and him, we're gonna have a close relationship and stuff like that. But he's gonna have to low. He at the end of the day, yeah, I feel like, you know, one day he's gonna be this big and tall, strong, you know, man. But he's gonna still have to understand that, hey, I'm your mom. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, you know, there's respect that needs to be given and shown at all times, to me, to your father, to any other adult. You know, and then we'll go from there when it comes to beyond that. Because I mean, I get that sometimes adults take advantage and whatnot. So we're not talking about those adults that do things to kids. We're not talking about that. But we're talking about, you know, good God-fearing adults that are like a part of the how do they say it? The village, you know, stuff like that. Yeah, y'all know what I'm talking about. But anyway, so yeah, man, that's deep. That's deep. I mean, I didn't mean to go in. But that's what I was witnessing yesterday, on top of everything else that was going on me. But I feel much better now. Obviously, you guys can see. Yeah, so thank God for that, because yeah, at some point it did kind of feel spiritual. I was like, man, you know, so much is going good, but at the same time, you know, other little things are kind of happening where it's like, you know, I guess try to shift your faith or rock your faith or whatnot. But I'm just like, you know what, I'm just gonna keep going. I'm gonna see what the Lord do. You know, I'm gonna focus on him and his will, and you know, just see what the Lord do about all the rest of this stuff. Like, yep, that's my general plan. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the juice. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you were encouraged and inspired. Shout out to you, and I appreciate you, man. Thank you for the comment and everything like that. You know, again, shout out to Arsal, shout out to Elizabeth. I appreciate you all's hard work. I see you all grinding for your girl, and I really do appreciate it. And yeah, that's all. Well, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Look forward to talking to you all tomorrow, if the Lord's will. Bye-bye.